So hello Achiever, today I am in a new place in San Diego. You can see the sea just next to me and I am with an awesome guest. He's Brian Alman, the CEO of True Sage and the best-selling author of the best-selling book called The Voice. And he will answer my question about self-help and a lot of things. Hello Brian.
Hello.
How are you?
David, very well, thank you. Très bien. Too.
Très bien. Thank you very much to be there.
Well, it's not a very long story. It's a story about being born missing part of my back, L4 and L5. So I had chronic back pain as a child. I grew up in Mother Nature. I had a lot of woods and trees, and I had the ocean. I was a great teacher, but I was still in chronic pain. And anybody that has chronic pain knows that's a full-time job. You're focused on it, it affects everything, you don't eat as well, you're not as active, you're always filtering, can you do it, will the pain stop you? So that was challenging, and I was about to get a surgery that was recommended by the orthopedic surgeon. That was going to be a body cast, a surgery, and no guarantee I'd get rid of the pain. And somebody suggested I try mind-body healing, medical hypnosis, meditation. And I just couldn't understand how that could possibly help, even though I was a student, I was in psychology and sociology, and I understood the power of the mind, but I didn't see how it could help something that you could see in the x-ray was out of line, all the nerves are being pinched, that's what's causing the pain. It was such a physical problem. But I tried it anyway, because I didn't want to get the surgery, but I had to do something. I couldn't be in pain my whole life. So it helped. I went to a doctor 4 times. He did sort of a guided imagery, relaxation type of technique, and it helped, but not that much. But enough that I was curious. I went back to my orthopedic surgeon, told him what happened. He said, all that stuff's a bunch of crap. Don't believe in any of that stuff. Mind, body, meditation, hypnosis, it's all a bunch of crap. If you don't get the surgery, you'll be crippled the rest of your life, and you need to get the surgery now. And if you don't, I'm firing you as a patient. He'd known me for 10 years, so that was really shocking. So I said, well, give me 1 more month. Let me learn what I can learn about mind-body healing, meditation, hypnosis, self-hypnosis. Let me find out more. He said, no. So on that fateful day, I decided I would learn everything I could about how the mind can help the body, the rest of us in our lives. And that was the beginning of my journey. And the most prolific writer, the most amazing teacher, I kept running into Milton Erickson's name. So I wrote to Milton Erickson, told him what I just told you, and asked him if he would take me on as a student to learn how to control my own pain and help other people. And he wrote back in his own writing, purple pen, if you get an MD degree or PhD in psychology, I will train you. I wrote him back. Said, I don't really want to get an MD or PhD. I just want to learn how to help myself and help other people. Will you train me? He wrote me back again, his own writing. If you get a PhD in psychology or an MD degree, I will train you. So I moved from Massachusetts to San Diego. Spent 4 years getting a PhD in clinical psychology and got 4 years of training directly one-on-one with Milton Erickson, where he got into the field because of his own pain, so he could relate to me. I spent probably a good couple of years as a patient. And then I became a co-therapist. I started seeing patients with him. So I had a very full 4 years.
And what did you learn from Milton Erickson?
What I learned from Milton Erickson was, number one, how to do my sessions outdoors. I do all my private sessions at the beach.
He did that.
He did many private sessions at Squaw Peak, outside in the garden, outside in Mother Nature. And so that was one thing.
For what reasons?
The power of Mother Nature. Mother Nature heals. The amazing qualities in Mother Nature. Be able to pick up millions of grains of sand. Be able to go in the ocean, feel the release of letting go in the waves. Mother Nature's full of surprises, full of uniqueness, full of training sessions.
So you learn to reconnect to the power of the swamp, right?
And learn. The way everything comes back, the way that everything, even from the worst of conditions, things can grow. A flower can grow in the middle of the sidewalk. what happens after droughts and rains, just the sort of never give up on a great thing power of Mother Nature. And also my sessions that I work with people one-on-one are usually all day. And he did that as well. All day sessions, one person or small group, and very intense. And also a lot of follow-up. For years and years, I learned to follow everybody up I see. He taught me that as well. I actually built a business called True Sage, which is all a follow-up business. And I got the seeds of that from Milton Erickson.
Great. How to develop wellness, because you had some training about that.
Right.
Do you have some advices to do self-help and develop wellness in this life?
Yes.
For people who are listening to
Okay. Well, wellness itself is learning how to have a healthy relationship with yourself, mind, body, heart, and soul. And it's really, again, very similar to the ocean. People go deep. And you don't want to stop yourself from being negative or stop yourself from feeling bad. You actually want to learn how to go deeper into negative or feeling bad, or if you're struggling with an illness or struggling with anxiety or depression, you'll get much more from diving down deep into it, because at the very depth of the pain, which is what I learned, very depth of the health problems, the very depth of your own challenges emotionally from your childhood, whatever it is, at the very base of it, the root of it, are oftentimes the best answers. So wellness isn't about fixing yourself or changing yourself or making yourself better or making yourself different. It's about really being more totally who you are, mind, body, heart, and soul, and learning how, really with exact how-tos, how to go deep into who you are mentally, who you are emotionally, who you are physically, who you are spiritually. So it's a journey that begins as soon as you're open and say yes, and it lasts your whole life. And
Right.
you work on
So
it for
you
your whole
say
life
yes.
too. Yes.
And you help people to say yes also.
To themselves.
Yeah.
To themselves emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, definitely. Most people, the French especially, plenty of Americans, and everywhere I teach and travel in the world, people get stuck with how they feel emotionally. They try not to feel what they really do feel. That's never going to work. And then they try to not be judgmental. This is a real key. You want to take this back to Europe for sure, that everybody's judgmental. Everybody's critical. I call it the 15th row perspective. So if you're sitting in the theater and you're watching the David movie, and the movie's all about you, when you step back out of the movie to the 15th row and watch your own movie, that's your inner judge, your inner critic, your perfectionist, the party that's never satisfied, the party you think you're never going to be good enough. That people also try to get rid of that, whether it's NLP or hypnosis or therapy or journaling or meditation, yoga. People try to stop being negative and try to stop being critical and judgmental. And if you're coaching somebody, you actually want to coach people to do the opposite, to learn how to be more judgmental, be more critical, be more negative. Because as you go deep into that, you'll automatically transport yourself to what I call your last row perspective, which is your intuition, your creativity, the true authentic you. So the best coaching is encouraging people to be who they are, and even more so, but realize that even with a lobotomy, you're not going to get rid of your inner critic. And no matter what you do, you're still going to feel what you feel. That's your sensitive, beautiful part of you. But to learn how to really move through those and use those as bridges to get to your intuition, your creativity, your inner artist, your inner healer, your inner doctor. Those are the most important lessons.
Yeah, it's great. And according to you, why Milton Erickson was so impactful? I learned that you are very, very good to make a rapport with his clients. Do you think it's the things you have to develop when you help someone?
Well, in order to be a healer, in order to be a coach.
What is your perception of that? I would love to know. Did you see that on me?
Oh yeah, no question about that. Did I experience Milton Erickson's acceptance and taking people as they are, whether they're a big fat truck driver or a famous doctor or a CEO of a big company. He accepted everybody as they are. I definitely felt that, saw that every day with him. And what I started to say is that as a coach or as a healer, you have to learn to do that for yourself before you can do that with other people, because people have to trust you. So you have to trust yourself. People have to feel accepted by you. So you have to know how to accept yourself. Because you can't really give acceptance or trust if you don't have that on your own. So coaches and healers and therapists and doctors need to do their own inner work, their deep inner work, in order to be able to give another person the experience of feeling accepted and feeling loved or cared about. And he was able to do that because he unconditionally accepted himself as he is, with polio, with pain, with all of his own challenges and difficulties, of which he had many. He was supposed to die as a teenager of polio. When I met him, he was 75. So he outfoxed everybody. And that kind of support and encouragement, you have to be able to give yourself before you can give it to other people. He definitely did that.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are a behavior expert. And how to stop a limiting behavior?
Well, as we know with smoking, it's a very effective stress management and anger management technique. So it's a problem and a solution. I mean, nobody smokes to get lung cancer. They smoke to manage the stress and manage the anger. So you really have to go to the roots of it, the person themselves. It would be like if there was a fire in a house, you don't want to hurry to the fire and just put out the smoke. You actually want to put out the fire. And so with smoking or weight or any of the behavioral issues, you really have to get to the person themselves and find out what the anger is they're trying to manage, what the weight, why food is so important to them. For example, I worked with a guy who smoked 5 packs of cigarettes a day. And obviously he tried to quit smoking many, many times over the decades. He finally did quit. As it turned out, he was smoking to handle his anger, because the few times he quit, he became a very angry and violent person. And his father raised him to be a tough guy by beating him up and hitting him on a daily basis. So his father made him a tough guy. He's a real tough guy. He never lost a barroom fight. And he smoked to manage his anger. So when he quit, his anger came out like crazy. So he had to, at the beach, spend a few days getting to that anger about his dad, about his life, about his childhood, about his upbringing. And he got through it. He got to the root causes, and he was able to quit smoking.
How did you help to do that?
By him getting to the reason he was smoking, which was the anger management, to keep it down and keep it in.
So you help him to learn how to manage his anger?
I brought him deep into the anger he felt for his dad and for himself, like going to the deepest part of the sand or the deepest part of the ocean, in a way that's very safe, with some safeguards, with some relaxing techniques, but took him deep into the anger. He cried like a baby, was really angry and got it all out about his dad, really ashamed of himself for so many of his behaviors over the years. And in 2 days, he got it all out. And then quitting smoking was easy.
So it's very interesting, because you are saying that the cigarette was not a problem. It was a consequence of something.
Right.
He has to manage, with something he has to speak about.
Right.
And then he is able to manage the cigarettes.
And I'm taking that even one step further and saying that the smoking was part of the solution, not just a problem. It was helping him solve problems by managing his anger. So you don't want to take away somebody's solution.
It was his best way to manage.
That he had figured over his 45 years up until that moment.
Yeah. A lot of people who are following me have fears and stress. Do you have advices to manage, to overcome fears?
Yeah, definitely. Fears are a very important way for us to protect ourselves. I mean, basically fears are, how can I be safe? and I don't want to die, and I don't want bad things to happen. So fears are a way of protecting ourselves. It's a little bit like putting the Great Wall of China around ourselves, so people overdo it, but the intention is good and the intention is right, which is to be safe and to not get harmed. So very similar to the smoking example, I have a lot of examples with fears. You actually have to go deep down into the feelings of being afraid.
Can we do that alone? Self-help?
People usually won't. They could, but they usually need a guide. They usually need somebody to help them. I've written books that show people how they do it, but most people will do better with another person facilitating it. They'll go through it faster.
Why, according to you, they need people to change that?
Yeah, well, the first thing is before you go deep into the fear, you actually have to set up a very safe place. So if it gets to be too much during the process, you can always get to that safe, comfortable, relaxed place, sort of that meditative, whole, relaxing, beautiful, natural place. So you have to set that up. And then the actual process of going deep down into the fear can take, if you do it all at once, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours. If you're dealing with a lifetime habit or a very long-term habit. If you do it with somebody else, like an expert, you'll get through it in 5, 6, 7, 8 hours. If you do it on your own, you'll probably do it for a half hour at a time or an hour at a time, and it'll probably take months. It could even take a couple of years. So I like to do things more quickly and get it all done all at once, and then do the follow-up after that. So you can do it on your own. You just have to have a lot of patience and perseverance. And most people will start it, and then they'll stop. It's like quitting smoking or losing weight. People are good for a month or 2 or 3, but then they go back to their old habits. Fear is the same way. They'll make some progress, then go back to their old fears. So to really get to the deep, deep, deep part where the answers are.
And currently for you, do you have a coach? Do you have some coaches?
Yes.
Also?
Yes, I do. I have some great people that work with me that I've trained and do this kind of work. And what I would say is that coaches should help you do what I call the heavy lifting, the couple of 3 days or the couple of 3 months, whatever it takes you to really move forward. And then the coach can stay with you once a week or once a month or once every 3 months or once every 6 months, depending on what you need. But I think like athletes, it's always great to have coaches with you for as long as you're competing. And in life, it can be really helpful to have coaches as long as you're growing and expanding your life. How much and how often, I think that really depends on the individual person. I don't think there's a formula or a public path. I typically follow people up 2 or 3 times a week with a text or an email or a video or asking them how they're doing. So after they do the deep work, I do a lot of follow-up, but then I do less and less and less. Ultimately, your point is well taken. You need to learn how to become your own coach. You just want to do that when you're really ready. And you know you're really there.
Yeah.
No hurry. Life can last a long time.
Do you have some advices to help people unleash their own potential?
Yeah, definitely. Everybody finds their own best answers inside. You're not going to find them from anybody else. So you can travel to the 4 corners of the earth, but ultimately your best answers will come from inside yourself. So my advice is to learn how to very comfortably go deep inside yourself, deeper than you've ever gone, and find your own best answers. And if you need a coach to do that for a few days, or however it's set up, that's fine. But ultimately, to really get well, stay well, you have to really go inside. And that includes finding your own power, finding your own potential. It's inside of all of us all the time, but we can't get out of our own way. So you have to learn how to get out of your own way emotionally, get out of your own way mentally, so that you can really find what's already there. It's like looking for gold. It's already there, but you have to go find it. Yeah. And it's inside of you. It's inside of everybody. I've worked with Nazis. It's even inside of them. I've worked with concentration camp survivors. It's inside of them. I've worked with incest survivors, perpetrators, priests that have molested kids, kids that have been molested by priests. Everybody has incredible potential inside of them. as long as they can get out of their own way and get through their pain, get through their issues that have been holding them back.
Great.
Yeah.
I have short questions for you, short answers also. What is your favorite book?
Advanced Techniques by Milton Erickson.
Okay, I have to read that.
Fantastic book.
Okay. What is your favorite audiobook if you listen to?
Psychobiology of Mind Body Healing by Ernie Rossi.
Okay, I don't know. If you have, what is your favorite movie, maybe most influential, more inspirational?
I love the pop movie Back to the Future, because it was about age regression and age progression, about going back in time and going ahead in time, and then making your present more effective. Very hypnotic,
Yeah.
very creative, very playful.
Do you like the movie Inception?
Yes.
Yeah.
Very good movie.
It's kind of hypnosis.
Very similar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really make you figure things out for yourself, and I liked it.
Okay. What is your favorite quote?
Again, I'd have to go back to Milton Erickson. The primary task is to help people discover their unconscious potential.
Right. What is your favorite commitment to yourself?
Unconditional acceptance of other people and myself.
Yeah, great. I love that. It's amazing. Yeah. Do you have some life lessons you would like to share to you?
Well, I have 6 kids, and
how old they are?
they're from 20s to 10, 5 girls and a boy. And I say the same thing to them all the time,
Yeah.
which is your purpose is to develop yourself as a person and to help the world be a better place.
Great.
So I always come back to that. One of my favorite life lessons, is that acceptance is transcendence. So when you really accept, you can really move to a much bigger picture and be more effective with yourself and other people.
So Brian, I have a serious question for you.
Okay.
Very serious. How can I help people and myself to become unhappy in this life and maybe become a loser?
Easy. So easy. People are experts at it already. Be very judgmental towards yourself. And that's the shortcut.
Oh, I have to judge myself, right? Every time.
About everything, and you will be the most unhappy person you know.
Wow.
Very easy. And many people are experts at it. They're doing it right now and almost all the time.
Okay, great. Do you have another things?
To judge your emotions, how you feel, and what you're experiencing inside emotionally, be judgmental, be critical of that all the time. You'll be one of the most unhappy people you know.
Wow. Thank you very much for this key.
You're welcome.